Hello there, welcome back. Hello if you're new. Today I'm going to share and give some tips and tricks how to improve in Battlefield 6. First up is selecting your role. They all bring different gadgets and perks, some more useful than others. Each also get a proficiency with a class of weapons. For example, Assault gets assault rifles, Engineers get SMGs, Support LMG, and Recon is of course Sniper Rifle. First off, we'll start with Assault. To be honest with you, I think this is a very wasted role. It does have some pretty good perks, to be honest, like being able to do objectives quicker, arming, disarming, etc., which is a nice perk, but everything else isn't that great. So it's worth having a look at the traits and the perks the classes get. They can be changed, so if you want to change up your playstyle or have your perks better suit your playstyle, it's worth changing them. The abilities and perks work as follow. You gain the first one by default, earn the next two by progressing and earning XP, and then the last one will be a active perk of some kind. So it'll only last a certain amount of time before going back to this tier. And then, of course, it will go back. Once you've earned enough XP, then you get the active ability again. As mentioned earlier, each class gets a proficient or signature weapon. It gives you a little perk or incentive to use that category with that class. For example, with Engineer, improved hip fire while using SMGs. So it's well worth looking into the perks available, and not a strict rule, but try using the proficient weapon with whatever role. Now let's go over some gun customization. I'm not going to tell you that a gun is good nor bad, or how you should even play the guns, what attachments you should use, etc. I think it's important you find what works for you and honestly experiment and have fun. I despise seeing meta videos. When it comes down to gun customization, you want to think to yourself, what kind of range are my firefights happening? What is the weaknesses currently? And how can I improve it? You can do that by many ways. The gun customization in this game is very good. For example, I'm going to use the L85A3 simply because I have all the attachments for it already. Reset it back to default and we'll use it on the firing range. It's okay, but say we want to turn it into more of an SMG. We can do that. Short barrel, maybe even a 20 round fast mag. CQC suppressor, why not? We'll stick that on. We don't need the scope. Let's go with blue laser. And flashlight. Surprisingly decent at range, but if you was fighting and using this in CQC, you could very easily now just hip fire the thing. Plus, you get quite some good mobility with it. Is it going to be any good? Maybe, but you can always tweak it from there. Now, say we wanted to turn it into a LMG. We definitely could. Get around with a 45 fast mag. Uses 40 of the points. So, you gotta balance it out. We'll just leave the default scope on. Maybe add a vertical. Now we got a more LMG style gun. Which has a very large magazine and might be very good. But we could take this even further. We could turn it into a DMR. Okay, now it's a DMR. Change the select fire. Some get bursts. Most just get full auto or single. So change it to single by pressing B by default on keyboard. And to adjust the zoom of the scope, it is V while aiming down the sight. With this scope, you get so many options. And you just gotta search through them. but now it's essentially a DMR. With synthetic rounds for a better headshot multiplier. You get the idea. You can specialize the gun in a very drastic way to better suit a playstyle. Now, are those loadouts I just shown going to be any good? Maybe, but you probably want a balance of in between somewhere. And that's the fun of it. Experiment, give it a try. If something doesn't work the way you don't like it, try something new with it. To help you with building the loadout and guns, I'll explain this bit quick. Hipfire is the reticle in the center of your screen. The higher this is, the smaller it is. Precision is where your bullets are going. Control is how much recoil you'll feel. Mobility is how fast you can move with the gun. Of course, your damage, rate of fire, magazine. These icons here is your reload speed, bullet velocity, aim down sight speed, and headshot multiplier. You can increase this here, so you can actually see what they mean. I know for some guns you won't have the attachments yet. You need to unlock them as you go. But a lot of the attachments have little to no downsides. So you might as well spend as much of your points as possible. For example, the red laser. It's not visible to enemies, and it will just increase your hip fire a bit. So the only downside is you're losing 10 points. If you've got points to spare, might as well just use it. Faster magazines usually are not that much more in terms of points. It's 5 more points for a slightly faster reload. Saying that, it does affect mobility a little bit. Some of the grips have little to no downsides. So again, as long as you can part with the points, might as well have it. Another thing to note, with the muzzle attachments, the flash hider will not spot you while you're shooting, apparently. I think it reduces the range at which you're spotted. So if you're firing it in close quarters, I think you still get spotted. I can't back that one up. Same with the suppressors, they'll stop you from being spotted while firing. However, the brakes or converters will spot your location while you're firing. So you will benefit from easier control from the weapons. However, you will be an easier target because you're spotted. So something to bear in mind. There is a lot of scopes you can choose from. Finding one that works for you, probably the best option. You get so many different scopes, try and use. For example, you got this 6x. Personally, I don't like it because it's a big red dot in the middle. Where you can get a very similar scope, which is the exact same zoom, but it's a nice clear picture. You also get the variable scopes. These will cost 15 more points, or 10 to 15 more points, but will give you the ability to flick through different zooms. How often you're going to use that just depends on your player style. However, what you can do to save some points and make it a bit easier, I think, is to select a 10-point scope, which only has one zoom level like this, and then next to the optical accessory, you can have another zoom level, or a new sight if you really wanted to. For example, like in this one here. Or you can add a zoom, an adjustable zoom to your current scope. 2x, 3x, even a 4x, but I don't have that yet. A 3x zoom and a 8x zoom. Combined together, and I save a few more points, and it's easier to switch between the two. Now I'm just going to move on to more general gameplay aspects instead of the customization. Another trick in general for moving as fast as you can, pull out your knife. Pulling out your knife will make you run as fast as you can. However, if you want to use the sledgehammer, you won't be running as fast. However, if you're using engineer or support, you can pull out the blowtorch to get the same speed, or the defibrillator to run at max speed. So ideally, if you really wanted, you can have engineer and support have the sledgehammer, and you just use your 2 other gadgets to run at fast speed, and just have the knife on the recon and the assault. Some gadgets that you drop on the ground, for example, like the supply crate, will regen slowly once you're away from it. However, if you pick it up, it will regenerate much faster, so you can throw it back down again, and then pick it up again. There is a little bit of a cooldown, but it's much faster once you picked it up. A dead medic is a no good medic, and people that skip. So, I know it's very tempting to run in and be the savior. But, making sure you're safe is top priority. Because a dead medic is a no good medic. And you can't revive someone when you're dead. Then, move up. Revive them. If you are using the defib, please fully charge the defib. Nothing's more annoying than being revived for half your health. Charging up the defib really doesn't take too long. You know once it's done, because it spreads the paddles apart. See, he got revived for 50. All it would have taken was one headshot, one sniper hit, and he would have been dead again. I'm gonna do it to them. They'll be fine. I know it. But see, a quick revive gets them at 50 health. Everyone can do drag revives, but only support can revive them at full health by dragging. They also get a speed buff with it as well, so it's half the time. Every revive has been for 50 health. 50 quick revive should be a death penalty. For example, drag revive here, very quick, and can move the revivee, and you can be dragged into cover. As they weren't a support, they didn't revive for 100%. Oh no, that was an awful revive. Revived into fire. Next up, we'll focus on Recon. Recon gets the motion sensor. So, if you're on the objective, just place it nearby. It helps everyone out. Then you can retreat back and then get a sniper advantage point. If you really want. Become the mountain goat snipers. Always aim for the head. Don't rely on sweet spots. Because headshots will come in later with perks that I mentioned about earlier. Recon gets a perk called Confirmed Kill or something along the lines. So each headshot cannot be revived from. And that's why you don't revive for 50. Key thing is, don't overexpose yourself. Taken out of context, that sounds very weird. Use cover to block off sightlines and only look and expose yourself where you've got your barrel facing. For example, I don't want to face that tank, so I'm going to make sure that tank is always not able to see me. Never feel rushed to take shots either. One well-placed shot is better than half a dozen not so well-placed shots. But every shot you don't take is a miss. Oh no, that tank is coming right for me. Okay. Generic sniper spots are usually not that great. Because every sniper is going to be going for you. Need a medic! Like that. Except for I just traded with them. But they know you're going to be there. Where if you play off to the side, this is the most generic sniper spot imaginable. So other snipers are just going to know. There we go. Just because you're a recon doesn't mean you can't take out tanks.
Contact enemy infantry!
See what I mean about one well-placed shot versus many misplaced? You just panic and rush, and you end up missing. Generally, I wouldn't recommend putting a motion sensor directly where you are, but maybe having it up ahead a bit can give you a little recon of the area up ahead where you can't, or maybe not see. Because I think you should have at least some awareness of your surroundings. It shouldn't depend on a motion sensor.
Frag out!
Place a claymore. Okay, next up, we'll do some assault. To be completely honest, there is not much to assault. You just get the ladder and the redeploy beacon. I believe they're the most beneficial to the class. So my general and personal advice is just to avoid assault. The other three roles are much more better. But I don't want to tell you not to play it. I'd much rather you try it for yourself and go from there. Assault will capture objectives a little bit faster. Noticeable? I don't know. Captured the objective.
Sniper contact!
Oh. Oh, that's nasty. Of course, they're up here. I will place a spawn beacon for them though, because that is a very strategic place to be. Bit of cover, recover, cover and recover. Oh yeah, another tip. If you kill a enemy and they have equipment that could be useful to you, like a Recon's motion sensor, or a support's health kit, or even an engineer's RPG or something, you can use that. What you can do as well, not the kit, this one, because he's got C4, I could create a new sightline for myself, even though that is very useless now. I think the syringe is pretty useless. You get the idea of assault. There really isn't much to say about assault, to be honest. But now for some general engineer. Your job as an engineer is to take out other vehicles and/or assist your own. The weak spots on tanks are the sides and obviously the rear. The rear does a lot more damage. I wouldn't recommend ever shoot in the front. Shoot in the front just wastes your rockets. So unless you know they're already low, it's not worth it. Mines are extremely powerful and can often just insta take out tanks. Place them in clusters around choke points, but ideally hidden among rubble. In the open, they're obvious, kind of. You still get people drive into them. But if you hide them among rubble, debris, etc., much more harder to spot. Speaking of a tank, this is awkward. Weak spot, rear. You can tell you did critical damage as it goes red. And there you go. Only 2 rockets to take out a tank. Really need to conserve your rockets, because don't get that many. We'll need to resupply them. Only until you need to resupply your rockets, you realize how rare a supply box is.
Hang in there!
But what you can do if you kill a enemy support player, you can shut down their own supply crate. You can regen it yourself, like this. You can get more rockets. Another tank. He just went into a mine. Destroy the engineers first. Sometimes it's just quicker to bring out your own blowtorch and finish it off. That survived with a sliver of a health. Getting good at engineer just depends on how well you can flank, to be honest. Good flanks will get you the rear of the tanks. Yeah, I know there's a tank at C. I got the rear of C. Not great positioning.
Enemy vehicle located!
Is it worth taking it out? Not just yet. Too much infantry all around. Cannot guarantee the kill. Where's... Oh my, there it is. Quite a few. All around me, constantly. Place it in near debris. It's a bit more hidden. Use the mini-map. Just the map to find out where tanks are. They, most of the time, already spotted. Aim for the rear. And all it takes is 2 to 3 shots. 2 good shots. Take out a tank. I'm only using the RPG here because I think it's the best option. All the others are pretty self-explanatory. Just shoot in the general direction. They usually lock on. Of course you got the blowtorch to repair the tank. This one doesn't need repairing, but it's very simple. Hold mouse 1 over box.
Medic!
I don't know how it hasn't set off the mines, but as soon as it does, that's one more hit and that's dead. There we go.
Need a medic!
If you know you got mines down and the tank's heading that way, just let them run over them. Yeah, I'm gonna do some tanking as well. It kind of comes under engineer. Besides, if you're using any kind of vehicle, you should be using engineer. So you can repair it and you get the passive perks and whatnot. With Tonk, face front towards enemy, much like Claymore. Front, you got the strongest armor. Use your MG on infantry and try and avoid using your shells on infantry, unless you're using high explosive and anti-personnel, which are designed for infantry. All the other shells are pretty much designed against anti-tank. Best to keep an eye out for mines as well. It's much easier to see mines in third person. The grill mesh bit, even though it's on the side, is kind of a weak spot. Not as good as the rear, but still does a little bit more damage. So aim for there. There we go. It's fairly similar to how you take down tanks as an engineer. Shooting the sides and rear will deal you more damage. Shooting them more direct rather than like an angle will deal more damage too. Keep an eye out for mines. Get a good flank on the tank and you can kill it so quickly. And dead. And all its crew as well. Ram! Out of the way. I think it's much easier shooting in first person. Engineers also get the ability to pick up enemy mines. Penny. Having a top gunner as well, extremely helpful. They can rotate and turn their turret much faster than you can. Always point towards the enemy. Your rear is your weak spot. If you know where tanks are, try and flank them. Because I noticed there is 2 tanks on C facing to the left, so I'm going to go and try and get behind both of them to take them out. Trying to be very quick before they turn around and move. There we go. I see both. 1 hit. Before it could even turn around, it was dead. Same with this one. Gone. Is that fully dead? Yes. There you go. Some tonkery in there as well. Since it's a air vehicle map as well, shows some anti-air strats. Ideally with the RPG. And some more engineering. Of course you can use the lock-ons, but I don't like those. And it's fairly self-explanatory of just point until lock-on, shoot, hope. Honestly, there isn't much drop with the RPG. However, you do want to shoot for where they're going, not where they've been. I love randomly getting kills because I've placed mines. Sneak up on that little unaware AA tank. Shoot me in the rear. 1 hit. I know there's an engineer right next to it, but I think I'll get it in time. Yeah. He just watches his teammate get burnt. But the blowtorch is also a great offensive weapon. Can kill very quickly. Oh. Okay, thank you for watching until the end. Hopefully this gave you a helping hand. If you enjoyed what you watched, subscribe for more. Until next time, see ya.